From Málaga, Spain, this is ¿Qué pasa, Raúl? Podcast about Spanish and music. Today we discuss Me siento en la cama, a song by Spanish singer-songwriter Kiko Veneno. He was born near Barcelona in 1952, but grew up in Andalusia, in the south of the country. As a young man, Veneno traveled through Europe and the US, embracing the hippie lifestyle prevalent at the time, and attending concerts of musicians like The Who, Frank Zappa, and Bob Dylan, who had a great influence upon his future style. Ironically, it was also during these American years that he rediscovered the great musical tradition of Spanish flamenco. All these disparate musical elements helped him to develop what would become a very personal and unique style. In 1975, he formed the group Veneno, meaning poison, with brothers Rafael and Raimundo Amador, and 2 years later they produced their eponymous album Veneno. It went barely noticed by the public at the time, but is now widely regarded as one of the finest albums ever made in Spain. Around this time, he also collaborated with Camarón de la Isla, the legendary flamenco singer, for whom he wrote one of Camarón's signature tunes, Volando Voy. However, Kiko Veneno's commercial success came many years later in the early 90s when he released his masterpiece Échate un cantecito, an album that showed a new maturity in his songwriting and contained a string of hit singles. The song we're seeing today is track number 5 from that album. It's a kind of blues with a strong flamenco flavor. The words are simple yet profound, making it a perfect choice for this podcast. As usual, the first thing we are going to do is I'm going to tell you the main words we are going to find in the song, and as I say them, you're going to try to remember the meaning of these words. La cama, la ventana, la mesilla, el suelo, la radio, un cigarrillo, los zapatos, tu cuerpo, una guitarra. Now again, a bit quicker this time. La cama, la ventana, la mesilla, el suelo, la radio, un cigarrillo, los zapatos, tu cuerpo, una guitarra. And these are the main nouns we are going to see throughout these lyrics. So, in the first verse, we are going to find 3 reflexive verbs and 2 gerunds. You know, the reflexive verbs are those that have that me bit in front of them when it's in the first person, as in me levanto, I get up, or me acuesto, I go to bed. And the gerunds are the ing form of the verb. The speaking, the listening, the working, the walking, which in Spanish have that NDO ending. Hablando, escuchando, trabajando, speaking, listening, working. Okay, so I'm going to say the 4 lines. You are going to think what you think it means, and then we'll go through it line by line. So, me siento en la cama, me quito los zapatos, mirando la ventana, me quedo pensando un rato. Me siento en la cama, me quito los zapatos, mirando la ventana, me quedo pensando un rato. So the first line is the title line, me siento en la cama. I sit on my bed, and this is our first reflexive verb. Me siento, I sit down. Second line, second reflexive verb. Me quito los zapatos. I take off my shoes. I take off. Me quito los zapatos. Can you think what the opposite action would be for this? Exactly. Me pongo los zapatos. I put on my shoes. Me pongo los zapatos. But he's not doing that. He's taking them off. Me quito los zapatos. As I'm doing that, I'm looking out the window, mirando la ventana. In fact, I should say looking at the window, because he's not exactly looking out. He says, mirando la ventana, looking at the window. If he was looking out, he would say, mirando por la ventana. But he's not doing that. He's looking at the window because he's just become thoughtful. And this is exactly what he says after. Me quedo pensando un rato. And that me quedo, which is our third reflexive verb, when you combine it with another verb, it becomes something like, I start doing this and I stay doing it for a while. That would be me quedo. So me quedo pensando, I start thinking and I continue thinking for a bit. Me quedo pensando un rato. You could do it with other verbs. I start working and I continue working for a bit. Me quedo trabajando un rato. Or you could say, me quedo durmiendo un rato. I continue sleeping for a while. So this man is sitting down in his bed, taking off his shoes, getting comfortable, staring at the window, looking at nothing in particular. He's just entered that state of introspection that often precedes creativity. And as we will see later, this song really is about the joys and frustrations of being creative. So, let's take a look at verse 2. Revuelvo la mesilla, la radio cae al suelo, enciendo un cigarrillo y no encuentro el cenicero. All present tenses, nice and easy. So, what is he doing now? Revuelvo la mesilla. I rummage around the bedside table. La radio cae al suelo. The transistor radio falls to the floor. La radio cae al suelo. Enciendo un cigarrillo. I light a cigarette y no encuentro el cenicero. And I can't find the ashtray. Or as we say in Spanish, and I don't find the ashtray. No encuentro el cenicero. Okay, so revuelvo la mesilla, la radio cae al suelo, enciendo un cigarrillo y no encuentro el cenicero. The radio's fallen to the floor, I can't find the ashtray. Things are going slightly wrong. It's nothing too dramatic. The radio falling to the floor is not the stuff of tragedy. However, what started with a nice relaxing moment to chill in bed seems to be turning into something a bit unnerving and annoying. So, what's going to happen next? Let's find out. Now here is verse 3, and that part of the language is now going to become metaphorical. Una mancha hay en la sábana, caldito de tu cuerpo. Tú tienes el mismo agua que me corre por dentro. So what's going on? Una mancha hay en la sábana. A stain there is on the bedsheet. Caldito de tu cuerpo. Warm soup from your body. Okay, we get an idea what the metaphor is there. Now let's look at that caldito and notice the ending ito. This is the ending we use to make something small or simply to refer to it in an affectionate way. For example, you could say un gato, a cat, or un gatito, a small cat, or simply a nice, lovely cat, un gatito. You could say, tomamos un café, should we have a coffee? Or you could say, tomamos un cafecito, should we have a nice, lovely coffee? This usage of ito, or its feminine version, ita, it's very common in the south of Spain, and it puts into language a degree of affection and sweetness. So anyway, una mancha hay en la sábana, caldito de tu cuerpo. A stain there is on the bedsheet, nice lovely soup from your body. And then, tú tienes el mismo agua que me corre por dentro. You have the same water that runs inside me. And there's a clear flamenco feel to this line. Sounds rubbish in English, but it has a nice flow in Spanish. Tú tienes el mismo agua que me corre por dentro. And notice we're saying el mismo agua, the same water, el mismo agua, and not la misma, because agua is masculine. It sounds feminine because of its ending, but it's actually a masculine word. So, el mismo agua, the same water. You have the same water that runs inside me. The song has become more intimate as the narrator reminisces about the orgasm he had last night. And this has put him further in a mood for being creative. And as we get to the final verse, more metaphorical language ensues. Yo tengo una guitarra, la miro y no me suena. 6 pájaros en mano, pero ninguno vuela. Yo tengo una guitarra. Nice and easy. I have a guitar. La miro, I look at it. La miro, la, because it's guitarra, feminine. La miro, y no me suena. It doesn't make a sound for me. No me suena. This no me suena is quite colloquial. You can use it, for example, when somebody's face rings a bell, but you can't put your finger on who this person is. Tu cara me suena. Your face looks familiar. We actually say, your face sounds familiar. Tu cara me suena. Me suena, it looks familiar, or it sounds familiar. Or, no me suena, as in this case. Yo tengo una guitarra, la miro y no me suena. I have a guitar, I look at it, and it doesn't sound familiar. Suddenly it's become alien to me. And final lines, 6 pájaros en mano, pero ninguno vuela. 6 pájaros en mano, 6 birds in hand. And this is his final metaphor. The 6 birds, of course, are the 6 strings of his guitar. 6 pájaros en mano, pero ninguno vuela. 6 birds in hand, but none of them are flying. So those strings, they are in his hands, he's playing them, he's plucking the strings of his guitar, but they are not flying. He's not in the zone. The muses are not visiting him this morning. He's trying, but it's not quite happening. 6 pájaros en mano, pero ninguno vuela. So you could say that this song is really about writing a song. It's about the craft of songwriting, about being creative in general. And anyone who's ever been creative, and that is everyone, knows about the frustrations of trying to achieve a certain result and not really getting there. The great irony, though, is that this song is very much flying. It's a great song. It has that vitality of the best popular poetry, with a distinct flamenco feel to it, and some dark echoes of the blues that the singer has picked from all those American influences throughout his career. And this is what the song sounds like as performed by me. I hope you enjoyed, and see you on the next episode. Ciao! Me siento en la cama, me quito los zapatos, mirando la ventana, me quedo pensando un rato. Revuelvo la mesilla, la radio cae al suelo. Enciendo un cigarrillo y no encuentro el cenicero. Me siento en la cama y me quito los zapatos. Me siento en la cama y me quito los zapatos. Mirando la ventana, me quedo pensando un rato.
Revuelvo la mesilla y la radio cae al suelo. Revuelvo la mesilla y la radio cae al suelo. Enciendo un cigarrillo y no encuentro el cenicero. Y una mancha ahí en la sábana, caldito de tu cuerpo. Tú tienes el mismo agua que me corre por dentro. Y una mancha ahí en la sábana, caldito de tu cuerpo. Y una mancha ahí en la sábana, caldito de tu cuerpo. Tú tienes el mismo agua que me corre por dentro. Yo tengo una guitarra y la miro y no me suena. Y yo tengo una guitarra, la miro y no me suena. 6 pájaros en mano, pero ninguno vuela. 6 pájaros en mano, pero ninguno vuela. 6 pájaros en mano, pero ninguno vuela.